Hello and welcome to my channel Inspiring Life Changes. My name is Colette and I'm here today to do the reading, the astrology part of my two-part series that I do for all the full moons and the new moons at this time, for the Leo new moon, which is taking place on the 28th of July in the sign of Leo. So I will be talking more about that. And I just want to tell you that I've called it New Moon in Leo, Heart of the Change. So first of all, let's start with the energy that we're in, which is the new moon energy, which is always about new starts. It's always about fresh new beginnings, things, new ideas, things that we want to grow, planting seeds. It's that kind of time of starting something afresh. So it's a fixed moon, Leo being a fixed sign, so it's all about holding our vision, staying true to ourselves, and not compromising in many ways. Fixed energy doesn't particularly like to compromise, and the new moon energy in Leo is confidence. It's all about being confident in who you are, what you're about, and that, according to the cards here, is the key to our success, is knowing who we are and being strong in that energy. So to start off with, before I actually do the astrology part of the reading, I'm going to pull one of these spirit animal oracle cards. And I will also talk a bit about the cards that are behind me, which I've tried to kind of bring forward a little bit more into the foreground so that you can see them. Oh, we've got two cards here and they've both fallen out in reverse, so I will read the reverse readings. So we have koi fish, which is saying there is always enough, and scarab beetle spirit, which is saying magic works through you. So two interesting energies that we're dealing with at this time. So let's just find out what they are. Koi spirit came out first, 36. So the message of koi fish spirit is the protection message because it fell in reverse. But I will read the whole oracle message. It says, the koi fish who grows big within a small pond reminds us that within each of us is the potential for prosperity. The law of abundance ensures that prosperity is our natural state. So regardless of temporary outer conditions, you can call in prosperity and magnetically attract the opportunities and abundance you need. The message of koi fish spirit is to begin to generate wealth within with deliberate intention, no matter how small your pond may seem, and appreciate abundance wherever you see it. Outer conditions will come to reflect your inner prosperity, so begin to become the self who is comfortable with wealth in all forms. Even if at the moment it feels as if riches are not yours, they soon will be. Start to envision the plenty that Spirit wants you to experience, knowing that the moment you begin to commit to conscious and deliberate co-creating, Spirit will joyfully start bringing you what you need. You have so much to offer and so much of value to express to the world. In your little pond, there is much you can create and much you can attract. Do not underestimate what you have and who you are, for koi fish spirit wants you to know that you are exquisite, loved and deeply cherished. Trust that outer conditions are changing to reflect that truth. Well, there's definitely a lot of change happening at this time. So the protection message here is, are you feeling a sense of scarcity, afraid you will not have enough and not be enough to meet the challenges you face? Whatever your outer conditions, they are temporary and reflecting what was set forth in the past. Koi fish spirit is your ally in changing those conditions. By transforming your inner beliefs about scarcity and plenty, Perhaps you have suffered a loss or are afraid you soon will. Or you have been scraping by and feeling there are simply no opportunities available for you to better your circumstances. Koi fish asks you to find prosperity within you by connecting to spirit through spiritual practices. Spirit wants to remind you that your natural state is one of abundance. Remember all that you have to offer so that you can generate your own opportunities, love, relationships, and even more. Even if you feel you have little to give right now, find it within you to give to someone else, even if it is just a few encouraging words, smile, or a helping hand. Your action will remind you that you have more than it appears. More gifts, more strength, more wisdom, more abundance. As you give to others, your own sense of prosperity grows and your outer conditions begin to shift in an alchemical reaction. Prosperity and love are yours to receive, experience, and enjoy. Believe it. Well, that's very interesting because we are going through big major changes at this time with this whole Uranus energy in Taurus, and there is this feeling of scarcity taking place around us. So it's kind of telling us to focus our attention on what we have already and to be grateful and to give, even if we don't feel as though we have anything to give. So the scarab beetle says, in ancient Egypt, the scarab beetle was revered for the creative magic of scarab beetles. Hang about, I'll start that again because there's something that doesn't seem right here. In ancient Egypt, the scarab beetle was revered for the creative magic of scarab beetle spirit. Reminds us that we can bring forth. Something's missing in that sentence, sorry about that, that's the book. I'll try that again. In ancient Egypt, the scarab beetle was revered for the creative magic of scarab beetle spirit. Reminds us that we can bring forth something extraordinary, seemingly out of thin air. Which kind of fits in with the koi fish energy as well. Whenever you let your creativity flow through you, scarab beetle spirit reminds you that spirit has given you the gift of infinite potential. You have an ally as you fashion something new or repurpose the old. For spirit co-creates with you, channeling energy through you so that you feel replenished and vitalized as you make magic with what is at hand. Now is a time for great optimism, for you can accomplish anything you desire and your creative endeavors will come to fruition. Miracles, opportunities, abundance and love will appear seemingly out of nowhere as you allow spirit to work through you and magically manifest what you need. And the protection message for this, because they both came out in reverse, is: do you doubt your unique inner magic? Are you afraid that you have no originality or that creative juices don't flow through you? Perhaps you mistakenly believe you're not the creative manifesting type. Scarab Beetle Spirit's message is that creativity is a living force that comes to all of us from Spirit, who wants every person on the planet to manifest magic and co-create the world anew. You are as capable of resilience and innovation as anyone. If you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always got. So draw inspiration into your being and begin to playfully create something new, and do it playfully, without any judgment. Creativity and magic are your legacy as an expression of the creator, so let them flow through you. And that's very interesting because that is also this to me sounds like the Leo new moon energy, and this one sounds like the Uranus triple conjunction energy that we are living through at this time, of which I am going to be speaking more of. Because I've got two, I'm going to have to turn this around. I've had a bit of a faff with all this at the moment because I wanted to bring those cards forward for you to see these triple conjunction energies as well. So on this side, we've got all the new moon in Leo energy cards here. So we've got the sun, which is the ruler of Leo. We've got the moon. The two of them are together at the time of a new moon. Then we've got the Leo energy itself, which is all about spirit itself. It's the sun, it's the spirit, it's the driving willpower of our inner being. And then we have the fifth house, which is all about creativity. And lastly, we have the fire element, because Leo is a fire sign as well. And on this side, we've got Uranus, we've got the North Node, and we've got Mars. So it's a lot of fire energy happening at this time, a lot of fixed energy happening at this time. We've got a lot of planets in, or energies also in fixed signs. So it is a very fixed kind of view that we're getting at this time, very kind of solid, enduring, kind of like it says, the fixed energy, holding your vision type of energy, holding on to something inwardly, not so much outwardly. It's not about the outward holding on to anything, because the outward is going to be changing rapidly, really, really fast. So this is about holding on to your inner vision of what you feel is right for you as an individual. So as I said, this reading, I'm calling it New Moon in Leo, Heart of the Change. And at the time of the new moon, of course, the divine masculine energy of the sun is conjunct the divine feminine energy of the moon. And so this new moon on July 28th is taking place in the spotlight loving, passionate, self-assured, regal, radiant, warm, enthusiastic, pleasure-seeking, fixed fire sign of Leo. It will be occurring at 18:54 hours UK time, and it will be different in other parts of the world, so check that out in your own spot wherever it is that you live to find out for yourself when that's happening. So everyone, no matter where you are, is going to experience this new moon in Leo at 5 degrees 38 of the Golden Lion. And if you have any planets or points between the 0 to 10 degrees, it will be having the greatest effects on you. And of course, all the other fixed signs as well are going to experience this new moon energy very strongly. So the fixed signs, of course, being 180-degree opposition of Aquarius, and then you've got the two 90-degree angles of Taurus and Scorpio, which of course is also where we've got the South and the North Node at this time as well. So this is very important energy that we are talking about here. Particularly and especially for Taurians, because there is so much activity happening in the Taurus house at this time. And this has been heating up since around the 23rd of July as well. So if you're feeling as though things are getting kind of a little bit crazy and chaotic in your environment, in the 3D world of what we're seeing going on outside in the world and in your own personal life as well, this is the reason why, because we've got all of this activity with these triple conjunction here. So this is really what's taking place. In fact, it's been kind of like Mars started to connect with the North Node and Uranus around about the 22nd of July, and since then things are really kind of picking up. So check out where this new moon Leo 0 to 10 degrees falls for you personally with regard to your house placement, as this will be where you will experience it in your individual lives. For the collective though, it is playing out through the themes of the 5th house and the Leo energy, which relates to the heart, courage, creative self-expression, and this includes children, hobbies, romance, lovers, making love, happiness, parties, vacations, fun, games, adventure, and a general joie de vivre, which for me translates as love, light and life, and all things this Leo season represents. So the new moon, as I was saying earlier, it's always a time for new beginnings, fresh starts, planting seeds for something to grow in the future, which is why it helps knowing which house placement this is for you individually, as then you can set the intention for where you want this new idea to grow into around those particular themes for you. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you don't know where that house placement is for you at the time of this new moon, then there is going to be a link in the description box down below for you to go and check that out for yourselves, because as I said, setting the intention around the energy of the house itself will help you to manifest it in the physical dimension. So this new moon finds both the sun and the moon in a beautiful trine with Jupiter at 8 degrees 43 minutes, almost 9 degrees of Aries, which is significant as Jupiter has just stationed retrograde at this time as well. So very early hours of the same morning of the new moon in Leo. I'm actually reading this or doing this on the 27th. For those of you who haven't watched my videos before, I did kind of jump into this a wee bit, but what I do is I write it out in kind of blog form first, and then I read it from my laptop, because there is a hell of a lot and I'm not always that good at remembering all of it. So I like to write it down and then I know exactly what's what. So yeah, Jupiter just stationed retrograde in the early hours of the 28th of July. And this is adding a huge emphasis of magnification to this new moon energy, as it's also a pretty tight trine of less than 4 degrees between them. And with Jupiter that is now standing still in the sky, again, worth knowing where this 8 to 9 degrees of Aries is for you, again to do with the house placement, as Aries is also very much about the new energy as well. So Jupiter is the planet of expansion, optimism, good fortune. He's the great benefic, and he can turn events around and swing luck our way. The moon represents the energetic emotions of the people, and she will be riding on a super high over these coming 2 weeks. The sun is our spirit, our force of will, our inner strength and vitality. The sun will continue to trine Jupiter until the 10th of August, during which we will see a huge surge in confidence and force of willpower, driven by our courage, inner strength, spirit, boldness. And this energy is also very similar to the Aryan themes, both of which are ruled by the element of fire, which is where Jupiter is in Aries at this time. So this trining energy is really bringing in this fire, this passion, and it's going to kind of stir up the emotional drive, if you like, for certain situations for which we have personal, strong thoughts, feelings and opinions about. And so we could also see a rise in tempers and blood boiling situations, which are going to need to be channeled into productive, not destructive behaviours, especially as the temperature continues to soar and the atmosphere remains charged around the Earth, which it is going to do for quite some time because of this triple conjunction here, which I will be talking about very shortly. So the sun moved into Leo on the 22nd of July. He's now in domicile, which means he's at home, where he's feeling strong, he's radiant, and he's at his best. Leo is Latin for lion, lioness, and is of course also the sign for royalty, as well as being sovereign. The ruling monarch of our country, or of any country, gets their sovereignty from the people. It is the people who are sovereign. And this new moon in Leo is a reminder of this fact. We are all deserving of a life of pleasure, not just those who dwell in the realms of the top tier of the pyramid structure created for us by those in the top tier. We are all sovereign beings with sovereign rights given to us by the divine creator source energy. And this new moon is going to ask us to tap into this knowing of our own regal, noble, sovereign self. As this new moon energy is sextile Makemake, who is the 5D higher octave of Saturn. Now Makemake is the creator, fertility god of Easter Island, and he is a Kuiper Belt object, so that means he's way out past the Neptune energy. He's way out beyond our planetary system, Saturn being the last planet that we can see with the naked eye. So the Kuiper Belt is way out, which is why it's on a higher 5D frequency energy. And he is also known as the god of cosmic law and order. So he is the natural law and order, unlike Saturn, who is responsible for rules and regulations. Makemake's law and cosmic order is on a much grander scale than that, kind of relating to how the planets move and what happens to us in many ways. The karma is much, much bigger on a kind of historical level, shall we say. Yeah, Saturn is just responsible for the earthly rules and regulations, only as they are created by the mind of a human in order to punish others of our own race on the whole. That's how it has become. The justice system's about punishment rather than actual justice. So Makemake is once again moving very slowly forward. So he's now at 7 degrees 34 minutes of Libra, but he's still opposing Jupiter, and he will continue to do so for some time to come, as Jupiter will be heading back towards him. So as Jupiter is now in retrograde, he's going to move backwards towards Makemake. So again, that energy of cosmic law and order, proper justice, justice as dished out by the universe, by the creative source that nobody can escape, is going to become really powerful and strongly felt over these coming months as we go forward. So in the meantime, this is really going to amplify the whole court system, what is and isn't just, as Libra is the sign of justice, and that's of course where Makemake still resides. Libra is a sign of justice, fairness, equality and balance, also harmony, bringing things into a sense of balance and harmony is what Makemake does best. And in Libra he's doing it even more so, especially as he's being opposed by this Jupiter stationed, emphasized energy, magnified energy. It's really kind of bringing it into the forefront at this time. Jupiter is also conjunct Celestia at the same time as well. She's also still there at 8 degrees 11 minutes. And she's still going to be bringing up things from the deep, murky depths and out into the spotlight onto the world stage, because that's what Celestia does, or Celestia. She is the wife of Neptune, who used to, before she was married to Neptune, hide in the very dark depths of the ocean. And after her marriage to Neptune, she came up into the light. So she's also being magnified by this Jupiter stationed retrograde as station retrograde energy as well. So her energy of bringing things up from the depths and out into the light. And because it's so close to that 0 point of Aries as well, it's kind of going to be emphasized even more on the world stage. And of course Jupiter is going to be going back across that 0 point of Aries as he moves back in his retrograde into Pisces, and then again he will, once he's stationed direct, move back over that 0 point of the Aries axis Mundi, the world stage energy. So it's all going to be highlighted very, very powerfully and very, very strongly over these coming weeks and months. So adding to all of this, we have the ongoing square with Black Moon Lilith at 11 degrees 4 minutes of Cancer. And this is creating a T-square with these 3 cardinal signs. So that's Aries, Libra and Cancer, all in this T-square with Black Moon Lilith in Cancer at the center of attention. So you've got the Make energy, you've got the Jupiter energy, and then at that point, the T-square point, is Black Moon Lilith in Cancer. So her energy is also being emphasized at this time as well, because she is also square with this Jupiter energy and the Make energy as well. So she is under the influence of an extreme magnified Jupiter. We are about to experience massively a huge amount of suppressed, oppressed, disregarded and denied female energy as the feminine refuses to allow herself to be cancelled. We are talking here of centuries of discrimination, being made to feel like lesser beings, not being valued as worthy of life in many cultures, who have always put the sons before the daughters as being more important, which has caused young girls to try to become more masculine in order to fit into a very patriarchal driven world and feel like they have a place in society. So the feminine has had to kind of become more masculine, and we all know what's happening within that field at this time as well, although that works both ways. But at the same time, the feminine has really been suppressed and oppressed, and in order to be accepted, the feminine has kind of become more masculine in that patriarchal masculine world to try to fit in. And this has caused, to feel like there's a place in society. So all the attributes that make a woman are under attack. Even down to men being voted the best woman for, and you can fill in the blanks for that because it's just about everything at this time, whether it's in sports, politics, you name it. Women are not at the top of their game in any of it because men are taking it all over. And so apparently no one can actually explain anymore what a woman even is these days, as to use words like breasts, womb, vagina or mother are all deemed derogatory, insulting, scandalous terms. And I even heard today that Disney, that beloved magical fantasy realm of our childhood, has changed the title of godmother to, and I quote, gender neutral assistant. And I ask you, where is the magic in that? So if we go back in history, the first word the patriarchy removed from our conscious awareness was goddess. We read and heard about the god being all the time, but very rarely was the feminine equivalent, the goddess, given any recognition. In fact, if you go and look back at the English language, anything with the feminine S, like I was saying earlier, the lion and the lioness, that's how you can tell the difference between the lion, the masculine, and the female lioness. that has long been removed from the conversation, such as waitress, actress and governess, and that's just a few off the top of my head that I could think of. I'm sure there's plenty more, but it's now like waitresses are just waiters, actresses are just actors, governess, just governors. The whole feminine side of it has been taken out of our language, almost like it's a dirty term, a dirty word. So Black Moon Lilith is the very feminine, non-compromising energy, who in mythology refused to bow down to Adam's demands and instead vied with him for supremacy. This act of defiance got her the title of Demoness, there's an S, baby killer, which is a very hot topic at the moment with the ongoing Roe v. Wade abortion decision, which is only going to get hotter as at this new moon she is conjunct the goddess of love, beauty, softness and light, Venus, at 12 degrees 55 minutes or 13 degrees. She is the complete opposite to Black Moon Lilith. In Cancer, Venus is kind of like the epitome of the loving, caring, nurturing, all-giving mother figure, who is often depicted as Mary, mother of the baby Jesus, who is herself another aspect of the goddess energy. Venus, more than anything, is about our value system, and in the sign that is ruled by the moon and represents the home, the universal womb and all things female, we are literally being asked to evaluate our association, perception and relationship with this mothering energy. An energy that has itself been undervalued, degraded, oppressed, ignored and denied her crucial foundational importance to all of society for the role she plays in bringing forth the next generation. And the depth of the emotional bond formed between a mother and her child, which begins inside the womb. Black Moon Lilith is the dark mother energy. She feels all this deeply and she expresses it in anger, violence and rejection of that part of herself that is wounded and needs healing. Instead of love and deep, intimate, personal, meaningful relationships, Black Moon Lilith is only interested in sex for the sake of pleasure, not procreation, which can often lead to more and more deviant ways to achieve the desired result of orgasm. Black Moon Lilith does not hold back on her desires, which is fine with consenting adults, but Black Moon Lilith is all about the taboo, crossing the lines, seeing how far those lines will bend. Previous to being in Cancer, Black Moon Lilith was in Gemini, the sign that rules early education and communication and children, and the effects of which are still being felt, seen and dealt with now. So we're only really seeing what has happened since Black Moon Lilith moved through Gemini. It's only really coming out into the conscious awareness now, all of this stuff that is taking place within our educational system around all these sexual taboos when it comes to our children. We are beginning to see, and people are beginning to hear more about it as well. So at the new moon, both Venus and Black Moon Lilith are being squared by a now retrograde Chiron, who's stationed on the 19th of July at 16 degrees 26 minutes. Now, having only moved 3 minutes backwards, Chiron is getting ready to meet Black Moon Lilith in a full-on square in early September. Which means from now until then, we are in a time of profound healing for those deep psychological wounds and traumas from our childhoods, particularly around the mother, goddess, earth, and all she represents. Some of these healing experiences could be so deep as to take us all the way back to the womb, or previous incarnations to heal generational patterns or painful events that created lifetimes of tortured souls. Chiron has been slowly making his way through Aries, which, ruled by Mars, is a very masculine-driven energy, which can manifest in many different forms. Sorry about that, that's my phone. I am not going to answer it. I'm just going to leave it to ring in the background and see what happens. So Chiron has been slowly making his way through Aries, which, ruled by Mars, is a very masculine-driven energy, which can manifest in many different forms. One of these being what is known as the toxic male, a term which only really took hold after Chiron established himself in Aries. During this time period, we could experience the ongoing healing of what has been the patriarch domination. So this is really what Chiron is doing in Aries. He's healing that kind of toxic masculine energy that has for a long time ruled over the earth and dominated the earth in forms of armies and kind of very patriarchal ideas, very masculine driven ideas. But this is what Chiron is doing. He's established himself in Aries. He is he's healing, and that goes for both the masculine inside the feminine as well as the masculine outwardly man energy as well. So I also got this kind of message that it's also time for mothers to help heal the wounds and trauma around the ideas of needing to be the perfect mother, and all the pressures, self-criticisms, along with our outside kind of finger pointing at how mothers are so bad and so awful at what they do, and that this has gone along with it is this kind of like not being that perfect mother that kind of Venus in Cancer is kind of highlighting at this time as well. So Chiron is kind of healing that side of our own mothering issues, our own personal mothering issues, especially for those who have had to do it single-handedly, while also having to provide a home and emotional stable roots as well. That's all kind of being brought up and kind of being looked at this time, or is going to be. Chiron is also about to turn retrograde as well, I think at the end of July. I think around about the 28th of this month, Chiron will be, not the 28th, sorry, maybe, yeah, maybe it is, no, that's when Jupiter turns retrograde. I'm getting confused, but Chiron is about to, actually it might be on round about the time of the full moon in August, that which is around about the 12th of August. So, but I know that Chiron is about to turn retrograde as well, so he's also going to be going backwards over. Actually, did he? Actually, now I come to think of it, Chiron actually has already turned retrograde, and he did that on the 19th of July. So that is something else as well, that his energy is now more inwardly reflective. So he is actually going to be doing a lot more inner soul searching across that Aries energy. So the really big story at this new moon in Leo is the extremely rare triple conjunction that last took place 2,300 years ago, and that takes us back to 524 BC. It is now taking place again in Taurus, in the Venus ruled second house, between Uranus, the North Node, and Mars, all at the 18-degree point. So definitely check out where these 18 degrees of Taurus for you are personally, which house it falls in. And again, this is where you're going to see this energy manifest in your personal life. And if you have any planets or points between the 12 to 26 degrees, and I'm using these degrees, other astrologers are using other degrees, but I'm using these degrees because the 12 degrees is where Mars first starts to connect with the energy of this rare conjunction between Uranus and the North Node, which is quite a rare conjunction as well. But with Mars adding to this, we are going way back. So basically, again, this is about clearing out history in many ways, and kind of our story and our historical, how we got to where we are today. So those 12 to 26 degrees of Taurus, wherever they fall for you, the 26 degrees is where he is going to disconnect from that energy as well. So that's why I'm using the 12 to 26 degrees of Taurus. But in saying that, the conjunction between Uranus and the North Node is going to go way past that. It's going to go right back into, right forward, sorry, into the 2023, because Uranus will also be stationing retrograde, and that will be happening at the end of, she says, thinking about it, August. So yeah, that is the end of August, round about, again, the 28th. It all seems to be happening at the end of the months for some reason. But anyway, this is the ongoing, it's been going on for quite some time now, since June really, when they first came together, and it's going to continue. But Mars will leave that energy behind, so, which is just as well. So the exact conjunction with Uranus and the North Node is taking place on the 27th of July at 18 degrees 34 minutes, and I'm doing this reading on the 27th of July, so the exact moment is taking place. And at the same time as we've got this triple conjunction, we've also got a triple conjunction with Venus, the Black Moon, Lilith, and the Moon all together. So that's also a lot of feminine energy there again as well, all in Cancer. It's really highlighting this feminine energy at this time, and really asking us to look deeply at it, and what's happening to it, and why that's happening to it, and what are we going to do about it. So they will also be making their own triple conjunction in Cancer, and so we have Venus at 10 degrees, Black Moon Lilith at 11, and the Moon will be at 12 degrees, and these are all going to be sextile, the three energies of this triple conjunction here as well. So very interesting, because that is also a lot of masculine energy that is being dealt with there in many ways. The Uranus energy and the Mars energy is very kind of masculine, particularly the Mars energy. So this is going to be an ongoing influence of this deeply, both inwardly and outwardly felt energy as well, which is going to affect us on a really deep psychological energy when it comes to that masculine, feminine energy, in the sense of, what is it? What makes a woman a woman? What makes a man a man? What is that defining like, I suppose, the science behind it all in many ways, because Uranus is also about kind of the science of things. But basically, all I want to say is get ready. Get ready for some major, major upheavals, changes, shifts of consciousness and awakenings. There is going to be massive amounts of awakenings due to the amount of truth that is going to be revealed through these conjunctions as well. So it's going to be like having a wrecking ball, basically, hitting all the main structures of our lives. Only this wrecking ball is also on fire. And everything it is hitting, which in the second house of Taurus is our financial systems, economics, stock markets, housing markets, as well as the agricultural chains and all things to do with farming, resources, all Taurus energy. All is going to be going through the biggest changes that it's gone through basically since probably 524 BC. I mean, this is huge. So this also includes our energy as well and our needs in general. And this all may sound like really like bad news, but it isn't bad news. It's about removing what no longer works for us, removing those control systems, and I will talk more about that as well. But we're going to experience some massive revelations of truth as this wrecking ball hits one domino after another, and all the systems that are being propped up and have no reality to them or need to change their methods of business practice to those that are more organically created and, dare I say it, sustainable models. But these sustainable models need to become more holistic, more compassionate in the sense of survival, and the rest is going to disintegrate around us. So Taurus is fixed earth. It is practical, pragmatic and enduring energy, which does not take easily to change of any kind. And this could also translate into actual physical shifts in the earth and the changes. Like earth changes itself, storms, upheavals with earthquakes, volcanoes, more solar CMEs, solar winds, CMEs, coronal mass ejections, which affect the planet, affect us on the planet. They can particularly be dangerous for people with heart defibrillators and things like that. People with problems with their hearts can pick up on this energy as well. So just be warned of this. I'm sorry about my phone. It's typical that it would be right now. So I'm just going to carry on. Uranus in Taurus is there to shake us out of our stuck in the mud ruts, to bring in the future in a whole new way. Uranus is electrifying, shocking, unexpected, unpredictable, and conjunct the North Node, our karmic destination. This is an already charged up energy. But add activating Mars to this, it is like throwing in a stick of dynamite. Life is about to get a whole lot faster and a whole lot different from what we've experienced to date as we reach the build up to the crescendo of this quickening. So everything is really coming at us full force in the 3D realm. And if you can hear my phone, even my phone is picking up on this electrifying, shocking energy at this time as well. And we're going to experience it through things like the internet, through networking, through cyber attacks. But we're also going to experience it through new ideas, new innovative ways of thinking and doing. And people are no longer going to be satisfied with the old ways of how things have always been, particularly when you've got this awakening happening, and particularly when you know that there are other means and other methods out there that will work. So this really is going to be a quickening quantum leap energy. Things are going to move so fast. And so Mars first started connecting with this future energy on the 22nd of July and will continue to do so right through until the 12th of August, which is that crescendo point of this energy. And it's taking place on the full moon in Aquarius, the sign Uranus rules. So don't you just love the way the universe works? It just blows my mind. So at that time, there will be a T-square with the Sun in Leo and the Moon in Aquarius, and they're both going to be square to this triple conjunction energy, and that also means they will be square to the South Node at the same time as well. So that's going to create a fixed grand cross in the sky, and fixed energy again is that stability, that wanting things to be as they always have been. So there's going to be a bit of a battle there, because a fixed or a grand cross itself can also feel as though we are at a crossroads, which we are, and so there's that South Node energy that we need to let go and release from the Scorpio side of things, and then there's the karmic pull, that destination from the North Node energy at the same time as well. But I will talk more about that in the next reading for the full moon. And the moon is also going to be conjunct Saturn as well at that time as well, so very interesting pull push energy. So this triple conjunction will come through in stages. The 1st, 2nd and 3rd of August are the dates when I feel that it's going to be at its most extreme. And these are going to be the most intense, as that's when Mars becomes exact with the North Node first and followed by Uranus the following day. But prior to this, on the 31st of July, the Sun is going to begin to square Mars, adding an extra level of intensity to an already over intense collective psyche, which will get more so as the Sun moves closer to that full moon. So as the Sun gets closer to the 12th of August full moon, the intensity is going to become really, really strong. So the need and desire for freedom, breaking through restrictions, barriers, rules and regulations of anything that stands in our way to the vision of a new, inclusive, grassroots, community-led lifestyles is going to become incredibly overwhelming. We are really going to push for this breakthrough, for this freedom, for who we are and what we are about. As Saturn retrograde at 23 degrees and 8 minutes in Aquarius is going to be in opposition with Mercury at the time of this new moon in Leo as well. So Mercury's at 18 degrees 21 and in Leo, and so both of them are also making a T-square, but this time again with the triple conjunction energy as well. So huge focus, huge amounts of energy being put onto this triple conjunction energy, which in itself is a huge deal. But when you've got all of this energy being focused on it as well, it's just gonna ripple out into everything. So this is also the time we will see the doom and gloom merchants try to ramp up their rhetoric, as they really want us to believe we are the problem and they are the solution, as they continue to push their version of sustainable living, better known as the Great Reset. So Mercury, however, has just been reborn. As I said previously in a previous video, he's now a completely new Mercury, having passed through the heart of the Sun, which is of course that Leo energy. But that happened while in Cancer, and Cancer is also the heart as well, the heart, the home, the hearth. And he is just beginning to reappear at the time of the new moon in Leo. So Mercury is just coming out from behind the sun, which is where he's been for the last 2 weeks. So Mercury himself will come out during this new moon in Leo. Mercury is also in Leo, so he's going to be fiery, confident, he's going to have a lot to say, and he isn't going to be afraid to say it. And at the time he entered into the heart of the sun, both were in opposition with Pluto. So we are talking major transformation, an ending of a style of communication. At the time he becomes visible again, he is opposing Saturn, the ruler of the sign Pluto is ensconced in, so that's Capricorn. And Capricorn, of course, is that top-down pyramidal structure of control, those at the top of that structure controlling all of those at the bottom. And that's through that man-made, restrictive, megalomaniacal, constructed means. Mercury is about to change that narrative big time to one of self-leadership, self-determination and self-realization. As on the 2nd of August, he will begin to conjunct the fixed star Regulus, also known as the Royal Star. So we can also expect to hear some shocking news concerning royalty, which could include both a death or an ascension, or possibly the death or ascension of a head of state. Regulus also brings uprisings, revolutions, assassinations, massacres, and affects the stock market, the Vatican, and the European Union. Square to this triple conjunction in Taurus, we can pretty much expect anything to be possible. So this is the final battle between Saturn and Uranus, who have been hammering at each other and wearing each other down since spring 2020, all part of the much bigger picture when Saturn moved into Aquarius in And I also, and I've said this in a previous video that I've done, but I also get the kind of feeling that this is also that biblical kind of final battle of the like good versus evil, in that sense of like Saturn being the old, the kind of more controlling evil side of things, in a sense of good and evil, like the new, the Uranus energy battling it out with the old energy. I personally feel that this is where that kind of idea of God, who Uranus is the god of the sky. He was originally known as God of the sky, or the sky god. And Saturn has that kind of more, because he's the ruler of the earth in many ways, he has that kind of more controlling devil kind of Saturn, or Satan should I say, kind of energy about it in many ways, because he wants to control the world. So that's why I personally feel that this is that kind of final battle between these two energies, the kind of spiritual battle between the good and the bad. And so in 2021, Saturn and Uranus met up 3 times, increasing the tension that we were already going through. Because of course in 2020, from 2020 to 2021, 22, we've just gone through all of that. Horrendous lockdowns, etc., all very Saturn energy. But of course we've also had uprisings and people fighting back against that, which is all very kind of Uranus energy as well. It's that struggle between the two. And so now in 2022, with Saturn having turned retrograde and Uranus about to do the same near the end of August, which I do think is around about the 28th of August. So this struggle between the old traditional world that just wants to keep the status quo, control the collective through the use of restrictive rules, regulations, treaties, and all things to do with authority, is about to go into overdrive. And we're already seeing that. We're already seeing that through things like the WHO and the WEF and all those other alphabetical societies that I've mentioned previously as well. All of those things are really kind of trying to tighten their grip, but the more they tighten their grip, the more Uranus kind of is breaking through and pushing against it, which is why we're seeing farmers rising up, etc., etc., all around the planet. And so as those who govern over us and make up the rules are about to see the biggest pushback to their controlling machinations over these coming weeks and months. So this is that battle. It is the final battle of the people, Uranus, Aquarius energy, the collective energy, the people versus the control, lockdown control system. And again, they're already talking about things like more vaccinations and monkeypox and all the rest of that nonsense that they want to come out with. And I will call it nonsense because it is all control mechanisms that they are trying to use. And we are going to experience some of the most alarming, biggest rebellions of our lifetime on an even grander scale of 2019. And that was pretty big. If you think back to 2019, I think there was something like 47, 49 countries rebelling around the world, protesting at that time. And of course, the world just erupted in these protests, and it was the fear from the pandemic that closed it all down. They had to do something, so they closed it all down. And so we do, however, still have this ongoing T-square with stationed Jupiter conjunct Salacia. That was me trying to put those two words together. There is this Uranus, and I do actually have my Sun at 18 degrees of Taurus. So I am actually full on in this energy at this time. And also Jupiter, just to make it extra special for me, is stationed on top of my moon, so in Aries. So yep, oh, all good fun all good fun coming my way. So yeah, if I make the odd mistake, that's probably why everything's really speeding up at this time, including me and my talking. So yeah, so these of course are also opposing Make in Libra, so we've got this opposition going on, but then we've also got both of these, like Libra and the Jupiter Salacia in Aries, square with that Pholus energy, which I've spoken about in a few of my other videos. And if you don't know who Pholus is, I will give you a quick breakdown, but go back and watch my other videos to kind of catch up and find out exactly what I'm talking about, because it is worth knowing. That energy is worth knowing. My friend told me I need to put it out in a separate video, and she's probably right, and I should really get on and do that and actually just talk about what I feel has been the kind of instigator, shall we say, of the of that pandemic energy that we have been going through. So Pholus is a centaur, and he died from the snake-headed Medusa's venomous blood, and that had been dipped in an arrow, and that caused the fast onslaught of his death. And this is really what Pholus is about. He's about things that move very quickly, infections, spreading of infections, death of the cells and diseases, particularly those which are not of original origin, because the Medusa's blood was not of original origin. Medusa was originally a beautiful woman who got turned into this snake-headed beast of a creature, and so her blood became venomous. Snakes are very venomous animals, and there is also a link with Pholus and biolabs as well, so that is also a thing that is going to be coming out a lot more. We're going to hear a lot more about bio labs and what has gone down in these labs in a certain country in particular. So we are going to hear a lot more, and there is going to be this push. I mean, this is again this kind of idea of illness and disease, and that we're all disease ridden, and we're all like, yeah, human being there, like, you know, a real push to try to make us feel as though we don't have the right to be alive, basically, is what's coming. You know, we are the danger, we are killing the planet, we are destroying all of this, when all of that is actually much more to do with the sun and the planets themselves, and we have no control over them whatsoever. They control us, we do not control them. As above, so below, as within, so without. But that's not our what's the word, our control. We can't control that. So that is my argument when it comes to all of this kind of push for the climate changing and all of this stuff. It's like, no, there's a much bigger picture that they do not want to talk about at all here. So back to Pholos, yeah, we're going to hear a lot more about it. Again, the kind of monkeypox idea, again, that is also possibly something from these vaccinations that have already been kind of put out into a vast majority of people on the planet. And it's all these people who seem to be suffering again from COVID. It's those people who are falling ill, not those that haven't taken the vaccines. And so, and for me, there is a link here with the vaccines and the fact that Pholos was stabbed by an arrow, which is kind of something that pierces the skin, so gets into the blood. So there's that kind of connection and link with that there as well. And also, they're going to push the idea that we need to protect ourselves and our loved ones from the dreaded pathogens waiting to kill us all as well, while in fact they've got a completely different agenda behind all of that. So Venus in Cancer conjunct Black Moon Lilith only stopped being in opposition with Pholos on the 25th of July. So as I'm doing this, that was 2 days ago. And square with Make in Libra at the time of the new moon. So she's still in conjunct with Black Moon Lilith. And Black Moon Lilith is kind of all about that energy as well, that taboo. It's all taboo. Like biolabs is a taboo subject. It is going beyond the line of what is natural. So so with Make being involved again, of course, a cosmic law and order, I personally feel that justice is coming, and it is going to be swift, as both the sun and moon in Leo are sextile to Make, and so it's also making this higher vibration of universal law and order kind of more intense, and also kind of more focused on that as well. Sextiles being very supportive energy. So they are supporting Make in bringing justice to our unjust system. So lastly, we have Sedna, who's named after the Inuit goddess of the oceans at 29 degrees 54 of Taurus. She has also reached the 0 degrees 00 of, or has almost reached that 00 degree of Gemini, and she will be moving into Gemini sometime soon. But because she is so incredibly slow, Sedna takes 11,487 years to orbit our sun, which is due to her overly tilted, elongated orbit. So Sedna is still in the anaretic or crucial degree of Taurus, that very last degree of fixed Earth. So again, this could be why we're going to see a lot of upheaval added to the upheaval that we're going to see anyway. So even more intense, even more extreme weather and kind of volcanoes, earthquakes, tsunamis, all that kind of thing. And I say tsunamis because Sedna has a lot to do with oceans as well, so we could see that happening. So she's still at that final degree and that final push before she leaves the stability of the earthy bull and heads into the cerebral thinking world of Gemini, but she's already kind of like in that energy in between the two. So Sedna has been at the 29 degrees point since mid-May, and she is at this time still making an ongoing long-lasting trine with Pluto, as well as a long-lasting sextile with Neptune, who is himself once more sextile Pluto. So this sextile with Pluto has been on and off as well, back on, which is again why we're getting a lot of kind of confusion around things. We don't necessarily know exactly what's going on. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors, all that kind of thing, but it's also going to all come out into the light very soon. But this is actually creating an interesting mix of energies which are connecting in the shape of a head of a kite. So we've got Pluto here, we've got Sedna here, and then we've got Neptune here, and they're connecting in this kind of triangular kite shape, the head of the kite. So Neptune is at the center of this kite, so it's kind of almost like, again, that focal energy. But all three of these planets have very similar energy, and they all include going down into the depth of the subconscious, trusting and surrendering to the process. They all include facing our inner fears of the unknown and allowing ourselves to transform into who we are becoming. This is where we find ourselves at this period in our collective story. All three of these, Sedna, Pluto and Neptune, are related to water, which in astrology relates to the psyche and the emotions. It also relates to the psychic as well. So also our psychic abilities, our knowing, our intuition, all of these things could be really highlighted at this time as well, particularly again with this triple conjunction, because that's the kind of energy that Uranus is about. It's about that higher conscious awareness energy, Kundalini energy, third eye energy, awakening energy. So although they're not actually involved in this, they are kind of all connecting in with that same energy, and Sedna is in the very last degree of Taurus where this is all taking place. So so there is a link, and related to water, these three energies are all working together, and we may feel through this period of time that our bodies are going to experience some strange and quirky changes linked into the deeply buried subconscious memory of who we have always been. And this is connected to our DNA, and I was kind of being told or shown that our DNA is almost like an Akashic hall of records on a kind of ancestral scale of the masculine and the feminine energies of who all of these energies that have come together through our story, through our period of history. Told you, my tongue is not working as quickly as my mind at the moment. So, that's a good one. So it's like all of this energy that we've got stored within us is kind of on an energetic level of what it took to create the physical form that we inhabit now, going all the way back. How many human beings, both masculine and feminine, had to come together to create who we are now today. If you think back ancestrally and look back down that kind of linkage, then it can take us all the way back. It's like, how far back does it go? And I personally also believe that there is an outside force that also was involved in the making and creating of our DNA as well, and our actual physical being. But it's like, as we leave the old ingrained and kind of lower vibrational and traditional Piscean ways and ideas of being behind us, and we open ourselves up towards the more Aquarius, spontaneous, alternative view of the world, of everything being quantum energy fields, where nothing is truly solid, just a mass of vibrating frequency that we call particles, atoms and cells, for want of a better word, for having a need to explain what it all is. But as the Uranian wrecking ball meets the symbolic towers of our structural existence, everything around us is going to turn to chaos. And it's going to become really crazy. And it's going to start with our financial, economic, banking systems, which are really the glue which holds everything else together. And Pluto, Neptune and Sedna are encouraging us at this time to let it all go, as it will be a lot less painful than trying to hold on to something that has been the source of so much abuse for way too long. And as I said previously, in a previous video that I did, when in deep water, we need to become divers. We need to learn to dive deeper down into what we are feeling, rather than trying to hide it or rise above it or pretend it doesn't exist. Because the story of Sedna is the story of the Inuit woman who became the goddess of the oceans only by diving down deeper into that water when she was drowning, and found the inner peace within herself to enable her to transform and become that goddess of the oceans. And this is symbolic for our connection to all that is, all that has ever been, and all that is coming into being, of which we are, always have been, and always will be the whole of. And so I'd just like to read the Sabian symbol for this 5 degrees of Leo, which is in itself very interesting. So it's called rock formations towering over a deep canyon. And this symbol shows situations that tend to be rock solid, steady and established. You may find that the natural structure of your situation is, on the one hand, carefully developed over time. There's a history here, but it's right on the edge of a deep chasm. There seems to be no going back. Forward is the only way out, and the solution may be to jump into the void. It may be a lonely journey, but you could find new depths of experience that others could only imagine. Still, situations may look unchanging with your back against the wall, but time may tell a different story. The choice, taking chances or standing still. Old structures and deep hazards, doing a Geronimo, extreme sports, risk-taking, great heights, waterfalls, monuments, giant leaps of faith required in order to move forward. And that's kind of the positive side of things, and the more negative side is painting yourself into a corner, not being able to retrace one's steps, erosion, cracks appearing, feeling like life is impossibly hard and no safety nets. And I think that really kind of sums up this Uranus North Node Mars triple conjunction that we are in at this time, which is going to get even stronger. For me, it kind of sums up the the idea of things not being so solid, the idea that we've got to jump into that void, into that unknown place, which again is that Neptune, Pluto, Sedna energy of not really knowing. So I'm going to pull 3 cards, and I want to pull one for each of the triple conjunction energies. So one for Uranus, one for the North Node, and one for the Mars energy as well, to see what we're being told at this time. Jumped too far into the void. Oh, interesting. I know I shouldn't do that. It's really annoying when people do that. So we've got appreciation, which I feel is the North Node energy. The Uranus energy I feel is the unity, and then lastly we've got beyond limitations, which I feel is the Mars energy as well. So all 3 together. So appreciation, North Node energy is saying, I'm grateful for the abundance in my life as I direct my thoughts towards all that is wonderful in my world. My troubles and worries lighten. With a full heart, I appreciate all that I have. Today I accept what is as it is and choose to be satisfied. I express my loving thanks to the universe for the wealth that is mine. And that's where we're heading. That's the North Node energy. So that's what we're heading towards. Unity, Uranus energy. Today I bring my attention into the present moment where I become one with my inner light. As I make this conscious connection, I find myself centered in my heart and begin to glow with my own divinity. Union with my inner light provides me with a wise and stable base from which I can now live every day of my life, which is also very beautiful. And that is also something that we need to do as well, is to find that sense of security within ourselves. That stability within ourselves as all that we know changes around us. And so lastly we have beyond limitations, which I feel is the Mars element to this. Today I exceed my own expectations. I open my consciousness to the infinite. There are no limitations. There is no end. Everything is unfolding in a continuous now. Therefore, I open my thoughts towards a broader horizon. I look beyond my perception of reality, beyond all barriers created from my own beliefs and fears. I am now open to new possibilities. So I feel as though they all kind of sum that up really well. And I'd just like to say thank you very much to those of you who have come across and listened to this video. I hope that you've got something out of it. I hope that maybe you've learnt something from it. If you have, please could you thumbs it up for me, give it a like, because the more likes I get on my videos, the more thumbs people do, the more hitting that thumb, which doesn't cost anything and really helps me to be recognized on this platform, which is what I'm trying to do at this time, to get my messages out there for people to understand what's going on. I don't do your kind of ordinary tarot or astrology readings, I would say. On some level I do bring in other aspects because I think that they're out there and they're having an effect on us, even though we may not be aware of it at this time. We are being influenced by these energies, and I think it's good to know that there are reasons behind what happens to us as it happens to us, especially on a collective kind of scale as well, for everything that we're all experiencing. So thank you again very much to those of you who have liked my videos, those of you who thumbed it up, to those of you who share my videos, to those of you who have subscribed to my channel as well. Thank you very much for being here. Could you please also, those of you who are here and haven't subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button and that little bell as it comes out, so that you know as and when my videos will be coming out. I am really at this time only focusing on the full and the new moons. I have done tarot readings for all the different sun signs in the past, and there is playlists for those as well. If anybody's interested, there are playlists for each of the signs. There's no times, no dates on my readings, because I feel as though it doesn't make any difference. I just give them titles, and if those titles resonate with you, then the timing doesn't make any difference whatsoever. It's just your video in that moment, if it makes sense, if it resonates on that same frequency as you're in now. So check those videos out as well, and what can I say other than, like, take really good care of yourselves at this time. Be prepared for what is happening out there. If you haven't got yourself a stock of food at this time, then try and get out there and get some food in, some of the things that you like to eat regularly, as the shelves may well start to feel as though they're a bit bare, as the food chain and everything is going to suffer through this, to be fair. So we just need to stay calm and remember that this is all happening for the best. This is all about our future. This is all about us moving into a time where we are going to have a lot more freedom and a lot more say in what happens in our personal lives. So with all that being said, I'm going to wish you all the best for this new moon in Leo and this triple conjunction, and I will see you at the, in fact I'll see you during, if for those of you who are interested in the tarot part of this as well, I will be doing that on the 28th, so that will be tomorrow. So I will also be putting out a video for the tarot to see what's happening energetically for us over the next 2 weeks as well. So if you're interested in that, that will be coming out later. I'll see you then. But for those that are only interested in astrology, I will see you at the full moon in August. And please also comment. It is really nice to get some feedback, and I really do appreciate it. And I've had some lovely comments, really kind of inspiring comments and kind of confident boosting comments as well. So thank you to those of you who have left me lovely comments. Again, really appreciated. So please take really good care of yourselves and your loved ones and anybody else around you at this time who you can reach out to. If it all gets too crazy for them, please try and be there for those who I suppose we term normies, which is a great term because it kind of explains people who don't really have much idea of what's going on beyond the 3D level. And it's the normies that are going to feel this the most. It's the normies that are going to really suffer on some level through this time period. So just be compassionate and considerate, and hopefully I will see you all again soon. Take care.